let's just dive into the AFC South because this division just got a lot more interesting if Carson Wentz isn't starting week 1 or 2. If he's out until week 8, Colts are going to be in trouble. Their schedule is not easy whatsoever. It starts with opening at the Seahawks and then the Rams, Titans, Dolphins. You got a W there, but then you're going Ravens. What do you think the Colts are going to do this year? How do you think they'll end up? Just so everyone's aware, to win the division, they're plus 180. Over under on games is 8.5. Whew. That line dropped from 9.5, I believe, the last time we talked about
it. Yeah. I'm actually going to disagree. I think those divisions a lot less interesting now.
Why do you say that?
With the Colts regressing with these injuries and stuff, I think this now becomes the Titans' division to lose. Whereas before, I thought it was going to be a good challenge between the two of them, and now I will say honestly, I think the Quentin Nelson injury is more of a deal than Carson Wentz.
Really? Why is that?
Yes. Well, I mean, he's a top 5 offensive lineman in the entire NFL. Like, that's much harder to replace than the 15th, 16th best quarterback.
Yeah, that's fair.
20th best quarterback, maybe. I don't know. But still, Quentin Nelson is a much bigger loss than Wentz is, and it'll only be for a quarter or half of the season. But still, if you get down, if you're the Colts and you get down 2-3 games in the first 6 games of the season, back of the Titans, and you're 2-3 back already, that's gonna be a big uphill battle.
Yeah,
because the Titans are a huge they're a really good fundamental team.
They really are.
You don't ever see them losing games they're not supposed to, and they're in it in all the games where they're competitive in, and then when they play teams that they're better than, they don't always fare so well, but they're one of those teams that will never lose a game to a team that's worse than them.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at their schedule and everything, I would take the over at 8.5. I personally think they're going to go 9-8 this season. I think there are still enough games that are winnable, regardless of who is at quarterback, because I think that offense is going to be humming. I think they did well last year with Phillip Rivers, who, let's be real, no one ever had a ton of confidence in, and they still made it to the playoffs. So that shows that you can put a half-decent quarterback back there, and they can make those plays and get to the playoffs. Along with that extremely strong defense, I'm 9-8. I think they might be a wild card team. I don't think they win division though. I think they're a strong second.
Yeah, I will say it certainly helps to have 2 games against the Texans and 2 against the Jaguars.
Yeah. It helps a lot.
That's may just be their saving grace to squeak them in at a wild card this season, is just the fact that their division is so goddamn weak. But that being said, their strength of schedule is it's an absolute bitch. Looking at their schedule, they have a god awful schedule. They got a terrible draw this season.
And that's because they did pretty well last season, They, with Phillip Rivers, they made the playoffs, made a good run. They look strong in their losses, and that, I think, has a lot to do with why their schedule is the way it is.
They finished second in their division, though. And they're still getting a rough draw.
Yeah, but I think, honestly,
on schedule.
Yeah, I mean, if they didn't have to play the NFC West this season, I think it would be a lot different. But since the AFC South is slotted to play them, that's just going to be rough. That's going to be tough. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. That's the strongest division in the NFL. And it's rough that the worst division in the NFL has to play them. Noah, how many games do you think they're going to win? What do you think their record will be?
The whole 5 to 12 week thing is a very like up in the air thing. That with both Quentin Nelson and Carson Wentz, the combination of that plus not knowing if they're going to trade for another quarterback or not. The Colts are a weird team for me. I'm going to have like a pretty big range on them compared to any other team, like maybe the largest range. I put their floor. I'd put their floor at 5-12.
Ooh. Yeah, that is definitely a floor right there.
But I'd also put their ceiling at probably 11-6. So I've got a like they're a weird team for me. I don't know how to judge that. I don't know where they're going to end up. There's a lot of factors still to be said. I can narrow that down once we get like towards the start of the season and have more information. But for now, I mean, I got a good like 6-7 game differential on what could happen with the Colts. So
definitely, and I think that differential is fair. You really just don't know what's going on with that team. We might as well then talk about another team that we have absolutely no idea what's going on with, the Jacksonville Jaguars. You've got Urban Meyer. You got the number one pick since he came out of the womb. You've got a brand new facility. You've got a brand new team. Jaguars. The over under on games is 6.5, and to win the division is plus 700. Vegas doesn't like them. I don't like them. I think they won't be terrible. I don't think they'll lose every game. They play the Texans, so it's going to be hard for them to lose every game. But with that being said, I mean, I think Trevor Lawrence will do great, but he's still getting introduced to the NFL. I don't give a shit how good anyone is in college and high school. You can be the number one prospect forever, but it's still a different game, and it's still, just a completely different speed. And you've heard so many veterans come out and say that. That's why so many college people fail. It's a different speed of the game, and it takes a while to get adjusted to that. So I'll give Trevor Lawrence 2 to 3 years to get adjusted before I really expect anything big from him. But yeah, the Jacksonville Jaguars. What do you think, Noah?
They're going to struggle. It's everybody loves Trevor Lawrence, but the reality of it is he's on a shitty team.
Yeah.
He's gonna get beat up. We don't know if he's gonna make it in the NFL. Definitely a different game than college. I mean, you could easily go back and look at how many number one picks there have been in the NFL draft in the history of it. And there's been maybe 14, 15 who have even won a Super Bowl being drafted number one as a quarterback. There's been definitely more that have been busts than have won a Super Bowl.
No, absolutely.
I'm just saying, watch out for that. Shout out to Ryan Leaf.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that poor guy.
Like he was supposed to be a generational talent, and he fucking busted out, like did nothing.
Did nothing whatsoever. So, I will say though,
I'm not on the Trevor Lawrence hype train. I'm not discounting him. I'm not saying he won't be great, but I mean, who am I kidding? I don't think he's going to be as great as people think he is. I think he'll be good. I think he'll have a solid NFL career, but I don't think he'll be like Hall of Fame level.
Okay, who do you think will have?
He's got some.
Go ahead.
He's got flaws in his game.
Yeah.
He's got flaws in his game. I mean, his deep ball accuracy is garbage by like most metrics, like in college. Like if you look at it, and he's throwing to open ass receivers. So you're telling me you're going to be like at an average deep ball accuracy rating when you're throwing to guys who have way more separation than most people have to throw to?
Yeah, they did get him some tools. They got him some toys to throw to. So we'll see if he can make those passes, especially those seams and everything like that. Those stop and goes are going to be big for that offense. And hopefully the running game can get established early. Running game is really big in helping develop a rookie quarterback, and I hope he does develop. Um, how do you think they're going to do this season, though? Record? Do you think they're going to do better than people think? Do you think they're going to win half their games, less than half? What do you think, Noah?
You said over/under is at 6.5.
Last I checked, yes, 6.5 on FanDuel.
Yeah, I'd take that under hard, to be honest.
No, absolutely. Looking at their schedule, the only toss-up game that I really saw was with the Dolphins. I think that one, maybe I'm not really hyped on the Dolphins whatsoever this season. I kind of think Trevor Lawrence can step in and beat them, but I have them going under too. I have them at 5-12 for the season. I think they'll get a couple victories. They play the Jets and the Patriots late. And I think those teams are going to be a mess. I think Zach Wilson will be good on the Jets. I think Mac Jones will be playing for the Patriots at that point. And those teams will be a mess at the end of the season. They're going to be worrying about next season, and they'll squeak out a couple of wins.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing for them is like looking at their schedule. The first two games will be Texans and Broncos, which will be a nice, easy start in to like hopefully try to work out some kinks in there. Then they got the Cardinals at home. Then they play the Bengals, which is another like not super great team. And they've got the Falcons on the schedule, Texans a second time, and then the Jets. I just 6.5 just seems really high, but I do see them as like a 5 or 6 win team.
Yeah, absolutely. I just definitely wouldn't take that half. That half is what scares me away from that line.
No, I think their ceiling is 6. I think their floor is not very far off from their ceiling. I think they're somewhere between 4 and 6 wins this season.
All right, we will definitely see how Trevor Lawrence does. I'm excited, but not optimistic. Let me backtrack. I actually have hope for the Jaguars. Let's talk about a team I have no hope for whatsoever. The Texans, the Houston Texans, the dumpster fire of the NFL. The team that doesn't have any draft picks for the foreseeable future. The team that decided to trade away all their team for pennies on the dollar and use balls. What a mess. They don't have a quarterback. Deshaun Watson, he was kept out of practice today when everyone reported, even though he was there. That whole Watson situation on itself is a complete mess that no NFL team's going to want to touch until it's completely resolved. Their over-under is 4 games, and to win the division is plus 2,100. Wow. What do you think, Noah?
Plus 2,100. That blows my mind. It should be like plus $1 million.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Look, this is a team that could, without Deshaun Watson playing this season, could go 0-17.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I'm not saying that I would bet on them too, because it's the NFL. Shit's gonna happen. They're gonna find a way to win 1-2 games. But I don't know, dude. Man, they have nothing. I don't like both sides of the ball. I don't even like.
Hey, they got rid of DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson, the best running back that apparently is in the NFL that we didn't know about.
For 1 year. The best running back for 1 season.
Oh, yeah. 1 season. That was it. And that was a couple years ago.
He had 1 good season.
And here we are. Honest to God, looking at the Texans schedule. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't even need to look at their schedule. Every team in the NFL is better than them.
What about the Jets?
Yeah, I'm not saying you can't win a game against a team that's better than you. It happens all the time, but I'm just saying they will be the underdog in like if Deshaun Watson's not playing, I don't know what'll happen with that situation, but if he's not playing, they will be the underdog in every single game this season.
Easily. I have them going 0-17.
Which,
they're not
like
going to win
I
a game this year.
Doesn't mean they might not win a game or two, but they will be the underdog in every single game.
Yeah,
without Watson,
I'm in the camp. They're not going to win a game. There's just no chance. There's just too much going on behind the scenes that's going to distract everybody. They don't know who their quarterback is. They don't have a quarterback. Watson won't play. Even if he shows up and everything, I promise you, he'll get an injury week 1 that he want to, make sure he rehabs it right and everything. We're not going to see him in a Texans jersey again. I have them at 0-17. No, do you have anything different on that?
Yeah. So I got their floor at 0-17.
Okay.
If Watson's somehow resolves all his off the field issues and everything, and they decide to start him at quarterback, I'll put their ceiling at like 4-13.
That's respectable. That's respectable for Deshaun Watson. I respect that pick. Yeah, he is good enough to lead them to a couple of victories.
So I'm going to go right in the middle. My prediction's 2-15.
All right, Texans going 2-15, says Noah. We'd love to see that. Let's talk about arguably the most complete team in the AFC South, the one that I think we both think are going to win the division, the Tennessee Titans, with King Henry looking strong. They looked great last season. Over-under on games is 9 to win the division, -130. Their strength of schedule, I mean, they've got some tough competition, obviously, in the NFC West. And even in
you said 9 is their over-under?
9 is their over-under. 9.
And what are they? What's their to win the division?
-130. Now, granted, the over-under odds, over is -150, under is -125. So not really the best odds on either end, but I mean, I honestly think looking at their schedule and everything, the way they performed last year, I think they're going to be a more complete team. I really don't see how they go under 9 wins.
Yeah, I was going to say both of those wins are absolute steals.
Yeah, absolutely. Free money at this point.
Rather. I mean, yeah, I know I took the Titans last year at +110 to win the division. That was a little bit tighter. I think this is like way more of a lock. So -130 sounds tremendous to me. I mean, especially with what's going on with the Colts, the rest of their division. I think, yeah, you can probably chalk them up for a good 5 wins in the division.
Oh, easily.
Which is only half the wins you need right there. And then, they also have a tougher schedule, but
they do. But I think they're going to sweep the division because they have the Colts early twice, and before week 8. I mean, week 8 is the last week they have them, so that's when Carson Wentz maybe comes back. They might keep him off, but I think they might sweep the division. Because they're going to sweep the series between the Texans and the Jaguars. That's just a given at this point. But Wentz out against the Colts, if they don't get another quarterback and their backup isn't going, I see them sweeping the division and then winning that handily.
Yeah, their defense is the only thing that makes me nervous.
Fair enough.
Defense and their tight end position. I don't know that tight end will really matter too much when you got Julio and AJ Brown.
Yeah.
So you got two top 15 receivers in my mind. Tannehill, who's an adequate quarterback, and then you got Tractor Cito in the background behind a really good offensive line.
Dude, that guy's unreal.
I would say, Derrick Henry, he's going for another 2,000-yard season, especially with the extra game.
Oh, easy. Easy.
I don't know if this is bet anywhere, but I would take it if it is. Derrick Henry to break the rushing yards record for a single season this year. I think that extra game will be enough to do it.
Yeah, that would be, if that is on any book, that would be worth a sprinkle. Those odds have to be tremendous. That would
Well,
be
I, oh, it would have to be plus odds given the risk of injury and everything like
oh,
that. Like,
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
but that's one thing I would say to watch for with the Titans is Derrick Henry, just to break the rushing record for a single season this year. And they got good receivers, and that offense will be cooking for about like probably 30, 31, 32 points a game this season. I wouldn't be surprised
Easy.
if they do that. Problem is they're going to be one of those teams that was putting up 30 a game, but also giving up 20 a game, 28 a game. So
definitely the overs
they're
on those games will be interesting. I'm interested to see the lines on those games and what the over on points would be. Because if it's 50, I might think about taking the over at least.
Yeah, their defense combined with their really, really difficult schedule. I mean, they might have one of the most difficult. They might have one of the most difficult schedules in the league, if I'm being honest. So,
what do you bet? What do you think?
I mean,
floor ceiling.
I'd still put their floor, barring any major injuries. I'd put their floor at probably 10-7. I'd put their ceiling at like 13-4.
Wow, that's a monster year. I personally have them going 10-7, just off a strength schedule and everything like that.
Yeah, my prediction for them is going to be, I think, given the new developments with the Colts and playing them twice relatively early in the first half of the season, I'm going to put them at 12-5.
12-5. That's very respectable. But yeah, Titans are going to win this outright. I don't think anyone would disagree with that at this point, unless Carson Wentz is back in 4 weeks and he can play in week 1. Then I think that might change things a little bit, but not drastically.
So he can be back and turn the ball over for him.
Hey, it could be a brand new Wentz. He is back with a head coach that he did really well with. I think he can do really well. I think he's back. I think he's all the way back. I don't think he will be nearly as bad as he was last year whatsoever.
You mean a head coach that he was with when he got injured, and then another quarterback took over and like carried him to the playoffs and through the playoffs?
Yes. No, I mean
that's how I remember
that coach. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. That's what I meant too.
Oh, okay. So they should trade for Nick Foles so he can bail them out again and win another Super Bowl.
Who cares as long as you got a ring? Honest to God. Like, I mean, you work hard enough, just like the Olympics, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I think it's stupid that the two guys got the gold medal. But at the same point, like, if I was in the situation, yeah, buddy, we tie. Let's go for it. Give me that gold. Same thing with Super Bowl ring. I don't care how I win it. I don't care if I'm in the front office. I don't care if I'm an equipment manager. I want a ring. And being a part of that team, no matter what you do, would be great. And they all deserve a ring, all that fun stuff. But yeah, the AFC South is rough. They might be as bad as the NFC East this year, if we're going to be realistic.
I would say if you took their total record, probably. But like, I think Jacksonville and Houston, like the Eagles will be really bad probably, but the Giants will be better than both of those teams. So that's why I'm saying if you take combined record of the division, maybe. But I mean, the AFC South is going to be way more spread out than the NFC East.
Yeah,
NFC East is going to be like none of them other than the Eagles are going to be like super shitty. They're all just going to be kind of shitty. Whereas like the Titans should be a decent team. The Colts, if they can get their quarterback situation figured out without giving up too much in trade value, they should be pretty decent.
Yeah.
Jacksonville and Houston are just going to suck. So
poor guys, but hey, hopefully, I would say the Texans would get the first overall pick, but I don't think they have a draft pick next year, so that kind of blows. Sucks to be the Texans.
Someone's
Good
getting
luck
lucky.
next time. But anyway,
Probably
before we wrap,
Dolphins stole like all their picks.
all of them, literally every single pick that you could want for the next probably 100 years, the Dolphins have. So good on them. But